Once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Author Liza Gay channel, where you get to learn how to become better so you can live better. Tonight is another reading episode for the book The Magic of Thinking Big, and we shall be reading, or I will be reading with you, Chapter 7, titled Manage Your Environment, Go First Class. And before we start, let's post some greetings for those who will be joining us later and for those who will be watching the replay for this three times postponed reading of Chapter 7, The Magic of Thinking Big. So let's play some music while waiting.
Sometimes I'm feeling first, I just want I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best. I don't want to stress out. Everything just feels like it just got so fast. Can't keep it there's something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can't. That's what got me the most. I don't do what I want. See all this change. Been through a lot of pain. Things are not the same. as they were a year ago. All be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays. Way back a year ago. I changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright.
Sir Pretamol, mega mega loud shout out. Good evening po sir. Thank you for coming. And thank you din po sa patamsak at saka sa mga magpapaharang dyan. Maraming maraming salamat po.
I'll be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays. Way back a year ago.
Kumusta na sir? Matagal na hindi ako nakapasyal sa house ninyo din. Siningit ko lang itong live stream natin ngayon para matupad ko naman yung na-schedule ko na reading ngayon ng chapter 7. Okay, so let's start. Once again, good evening everyone, and thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for your likes, for the 17 likes na nabigay sa ating live stream. Actually, this was supposed to be 3 days ago, but because of so many things to do, it has to be postponed. And now, here we are with the reading of Chapter 7 of this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Chapter 7, title, Manage Your Environment, Go First Class. Thank you all so much for the 4 million in the house watching with us now. And for those who will be watching the replay, thank you all so much. Enjoy listening as I enjoy reading to you this chapter where we can also learn how we can manage our environment. Let's start. Your mind is an amazing mechanism. When your mind works one way, it can carry you forward to outstanding success. But the same mind operating in a different manner can produce a total failure. The mind is the most delicate, most sensitive instrument in all creation. Let's look now and see what makes the mind think the way it does. Millions of people are diet conscious. We're a calorie counting nation. We spend millions of dollars on vitamins, minerals, and other dietary supplements. All we know why. And we all know why. Through nutritional research, we've learned that the body reflects the diet fed the body. Physical stamina, resistance to disease, body size, even how long we live are all closely related to what we eat. The body is what the body is fed. By the same token, the mind is what the mind is fed. Mind food, of course, doesn't come in packages, and you can't buy it at the store. Mind food is your environment, all the countless things that influence your conscious and subconscious thought. The kind of mind food we consume determines our habits, attitudes, personality. Each of us inherited a certain capacity to develop, but how much of that capacity we have developed and the way we have developed that capacity depends on the kind of mind food we feed it. The mind reflects what its environment feeds it just as surely as the body reflects the food you feed it. Have you ever thought what kind of person you would be had you been reared in some foreign country instead of the United States? What kind of foods would you prefer? Would your preferences for clothing be the same? What sort of environment would you like the most? What kind of work would you be doing? What would be your religion? You can't, of course, be sure of the answers to these questions. But chances are you would be materially different person had you grown up in a different country. Why? Because you would have been influenced by a different environment. As the saying goes, you are a product of your environment. Mark it well. Environment shapes us, makes us think the way we do. Try to name just one habit or one mannerism you have that you didn't pick up from the other people. Relatively minor things like the way we walk, cough, hold a cup, our preferences for music, literature, environment, clothing all stem in a very large part from environment. More important, the size of your thinking, your goals, your attitudes, your very personality is formed by your environment. Prolonged association with negative people makes us think negatively. Close contact with with petty individuals develops petty habits in us. On the bright side, companionship with people with big ideas raises the level of our thinking. Close contact with ambitious people gives us ambition. Experts agree that the person you are today, your personality, ambitions, present status in life, are largely the result of your psychological environment. And experts agree also that the person you will be 1, 5, 10, 20 years from now depends almost entirely on your future environment. You will change over the months and years. This we know. But how you will change depend on your future environment, the mind food you feed it. Let's look at now at what we can do to make our future environment pay off in satisfaction and prosperity. Before that, let's read some of your messages and play some music. Nandito si Tita Wanderings. Tita Wanderings, harang muna host. Thank you so much, Tita Wanderings. Thanks for being here. And to the 3 million in the house, mega, mega loud shout out to all. Thank you all so much. We'll continue the reading in a while. Sir Pratamal, good evening. And let's also share. For those who are here, you can also connect. And for those who will be watching the replay or listening to this reading, you can also connect with our mentors who are here. So let Nightboot drop them, or let me have blessed and happy drop them. For the 4 million in the house watching with us, thank you so much. Mega, mega loud shout out. Greetings to all. Di mo na magpapakita si host ngayon na. We will just be reading. So I hope you enjoy listening. Okay, let's continue. Oh, I did not realize I had been reading while on mute. Sorry about that. Okay, let's continue. Tita Wanderings, hello. Thank you so much for still being here with us. At saka sa pagtambay mo dyan at pakikipag-interact kay Nightboot. I did not realize I was on mute until I saw I'm almost halfway. Okay. I don't know where I ended a while back. Hmm. Let's continue. So, yeah, yes. Make it a rule to seek advice from people who know. So that's where we will continue. There's a lot of incorrect thinking that successful people are inaccessible. The plain truth is that they are not. As a rule, it's the more successful people who are most humble and ready to help. Since they are sincerely interested in their work and success, they are eager to see that the work lives on and that somebody capable succeeds them when they retire. It's the would be big people who are almost often the most abrupt and hard to get to know. An executive made this clear: "I'm a busy woman, but there's no 'do not disturb' sign on my office door. Counseling people is one of my key functions. We give a standardized training of one kind or another to everybody in this company, but personal counseling or tutoring, as I like to call it, is available for the asking. I stand ready to help the fellow who comes in here with either the company or a personal problem. The fellow who displays curiosity and exhibits a real desire to know more about his job and how it relates to other jobs is the individual I like most to help. But," he said, "for obvious reasons, I can't spend time offering advice to anybody who isn't sincere in seeking it. Go first class when you have questions. Seeking advice from a failure is like consulting a quack on how to cure a cancer." Many executives today never employ persons for key jobs without first interviewing the fellow's wife. One sales executive explained to me, "I want to be sure the prospective salesman has his family behind him. A cooperative family that won't object to travel, regular hours, and other inconveniences which are part of selling. A family that will help the salesman over those inevitable rough spots." Executives today realize what happens on weekends and between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m. directly affects a person's performance from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. A person with constructive of-the-job life nearly always is more successful than a person who lives in dull, dreary home situation. Let's look on the traditional way two co-workers, John and Milton, spent their weekends. Let's look to at the ultimate result. John's psychological diet on weekends is something like this. Usually, one evening is spent with some carefully selected, interesting friends. Another evening is generally spent out, perhaps at a movie, a civic or community project, or some friend's house. John devotes Saturday morning to Boy Scout work. Saturday afternoon, he does errands and chores around the house. Often, he works on some special project. Currently, it's building a patio in the backyard. On Sundays, John and his family do something special. One Sunday recently, they climbed a mountain. Another Sunday, they visited a museum. Occasionally, they drive into the country nearby, for John wants to buy some country property in not so distant future. Sunday evening is spent quietly. John usually reads a book and catches up on the news. Wrapped up, John's weekends are planned. His many refreshing activities keep boredom locked out. John gets plenty of psychological sunshine. Milton's psychological diet is much less well balanced than John's. His weekends are unplanned. Milton is usually pretty tired on Friday night, but he goes through the motions of asking his wife, "Want to do anything tonight?" But the plan dies there. Rarely do Milton and his wife entertain, and rarely are they invited out. Milton sleeps late on Saturday morning, and the rest of the day is taken up with chores of one kind or another. Saturday night, Milton and his family usually go to a movie or watch TV. What else is there to do? Milton spends most of the Sunday morning in bed. Sunday afternoon, they drive over to Bill or Mary's, or Bill and Mary drive over to see them. Bill and Mary are the only couple Milton and his wife visit regularly. Milton's Milton's entire weekend is marked by boredom. By the time Sunday evening rolls around, the whole family is on another's nerves as a result of a cabin fever. There are no knockdown, drag out fights, but there are hours of psychological warfares. Milton's weekend is dull, dreary, boring. Milton gets no psychological sunshine. Now, what's the effect of these two home environments on John and Milton? Over a week or two, there probably is no predictable effect. But over a period of months and years, the effect is tremendous. John's environmental pattern leaves him refreshed, gives him ideas, tunes up his thinking. He's like an athlete being fed steak. Milton's environmental pa- Milton's environmental pattern leaves him psychologically starved. His thinking mechanism is impaired. He's like an athlete being fed candy and beer. John and Milton may be on the same level today, but there will gradually be a wide gap between them in the months ahead, with John in the lead position. Casual observers will say, "Well, I guess John has more on the ball than Milton." But those of us who know will explain that much of the difference in job performance is the result of the difference in the mind food consumed by two fellows. Every farmer in the corn belt knows that if he puts plenty of fertilizer with his corn, he's going to get bigger yield. Thinking too must be given additional nourishment if we want to get better results. My wife and I, along with five other couples, spent a wonderful evening last month as guests of a department store executive and his wife. His wife and I lingered just a bit longer than the others, so I had the chance to ask our host, whom I know well, a question that has been on my mind all evening. "This was really a wonderful evening," he said, "but I'm puzzled about one thing. I'd expected to meet mainly other retailing executives here tonight, but your guests represented different levels or different fields. There was a writer, a doctor, an engineer, an accountant, and a teacher." He smiled and said, "Well, we often do entertain retailing people, but Helen and I find it very refreshing to mix with people who do something else for a living. I'm afraid if we confine our entertaining to people who only have interests similar to our own, we'd find ourselves in the old, well known rut. Besides," he went on, "people are my business. Every day, thousands of people of every occupational group imaginable visit our store. The more I can learn about other people, their ideas, interests, viewpoints, the better job I can do in giving them merchandise and service they want and will buy. Here are a few simple do's to make your social environment first class. Number one, do circulate in new groups. Restricting your social environment in the same small group produces boredom, dullness, dissatisfaction. Equally important, remember that your success building program requires that you become an expert in understanding people. Trying to learn all there is to know about people by studying one small group is like trying to master mathematics by reading short book. Make new friends, join new organizations, enlarge your orbit, then to variety in people, like variety in anything else, adds spice to life and gives it a broader dimension. It's good mind food. So that's number one. Do circulate in new groups. Let's play some music again before we continue with number two. Okay, there you have it. Let's continue. Number two. Yan, basahin nga natin yung mga messages. Si Tita Wanderings, thanks Doc, heart, and then good vibes. Tapos nakiki-interact siya kay Nightboot. Ang sabi kasi ni Nightboot, always stay healthy and safe. Remember, your health is your first wealth. Protect it for yourself and your loved ones. Sabi ni Tita Wandering Tooth, so true, Nightboot. Ayan, sumagot si Alice Gay. Si Alice Gay 3, ayan, good vibes. Wondering 2, harang na ulit. Harang dito, sabi ni Tita Wonder Vlogs. Thank you so much sa paharang po. Thank you so much. Ayan, let's continue with number 2. Number 2, do select friends who have views different from your own. This is how we can go first class. According to this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. In modern age, the narrow individual hasn't much future. Responsibility and positions are importance gravitate responsibility in positions of importance gravitate to the person who is able to see both sides. If you're a Republican, make sure you have friends who are Democrats and vice versa. Get to know people of different religious faiths. Associate with opposites, but just be sure they are persons with real potential. Number three, do select friends who stand above petty, unimportant things. Folks who are more concerned with the same square footage of your home or the appliances you have or don't have more than your ideas and your conversations are inclined to be petty. Guard your psychological environment. Select friends who are interested in positive things, friends who really do want to see you succeed. Find friends who breathe encouragement into your plans and ideas. If you don't, if you select petty thinkers as your close friends, you'll gradually develop into a petty thinker yourself. We're a poison conscious nation, body poison that is. Every restaurant is on guard against food poisoning. Just a couple cases of it, and his patrons won't come near his place. We've got tons of laws to protect the public against hundreds of body poisons. We put or should put poisons on the top shelves so the kids can't reach them. We go to the extreme to avoid body poison, and it's good that we do. But there's another type of poison, perhaps a little more insidious, thought poison, commonly called gossip. And I guess we are all guilty of this. Gossip, it's actually a thought poison. Ouch. And thought poison differs from body poison in two ways. It affects the mind, but the body, not the body, and is more subtle. The person being poisoned usually don't know it. Thought poison is subtle, but it accomplishes big things. It reduces the size of your thinking by forcing us to concentrate on petty, unimportant things. It warps and twists our thinking about people because it is based on a distortion of facts, and it creates a guilt feeling in us that shows through when we meet the person we gossiped about. Thought poison is 0% right thinking. It is 100% wrong thinking. Oh, that's a good way to say it. On the contrary, to lots of opinion, women have no exclusive franchise on gossip. Every day, many men, too, live in a partially poisoned environment. Every day, thousands of gossip feasts staged by men take place on such topics as the boss' marital or financial problems, Bill's politicking to get ahead in business, the probability of John being transferred, the reasons for a special favor being awarded Tom, and why they brought in the new man. Gossiping goes like this. Say, I just heard. No, why? Well, it doesn't surprise me. Had it coming to him, of course. This is confidential. Conversation is a big part of our psychological environment. Some conversation is healthy. It encourages you. It makes you feel that you're taking a walk in the warm sunshine of a spring day. Some conversation makes you feel like a winner. But other conversation is more like walking through a poisonous radioactive cloud. It chokes you. It makes you feel ill. It turns you into a loser. Gossip is such a negative conversation about people, and the victim of thought poison begins to think he enjoys it. He seems to get a form of poisoned joy from talking negatively about others, not knowing that to successful people he is becoming increasingly unlikable and unreliable. One of these thought poison addicts walked in a conversation with some friends and I were having about Benjamin Franklin. As soon as Mr. Killjoy learned the topic, of our chat, he came through with our choice bits about Franklin's personal life in a negative way. Perhaps it's true that Franklin was the character in some ways, and he might have had scandal magazines and have been around that had been around in the 18th century. But the point is, Benjamin Franklin's personal life had no bearing on the discussion at hand. And I couldn't help being glad that we weren't discussing somebody whom we knew intimately. Talk about people? Yes, but stay on the positive side. Let's make one point clear. Not all conversation is gossip. Bull sessions, shop talk, and just batting the breeze are necessary at times. They serve a good purpose when they are constructive. You can test your proneness to be a gossiper by taking this test. Number one, do I spread rumors about people? Number two, do I have always good things to say about others? Number three, do I like to hear reports of a scandal? Number four, do I judge others only on the basis of facts? Number five, do I encourage others to bring their rumors to me? Number six, do I precede conversations with don't tell anybody? And number seven, do I keep confidential information confidential? And number eight, do I feel guilty about what I say concerning the other people? The right answer is obvious. The right answers are obvious. Meditate on this thought for a moment. Taking an axe and chopping your neighbor's furniture to pieces won't make your furniture look one bit better. And using verbal axes and grenades on another person doesn't do one thing to make you a better you or make me a better me. Go first class. That's an excellent rule to follow in everything you do, including the goods and services you buy. Once, to prove the unconditional truth of the go first class thinking, I asked a group of trainees to give one example of how they had been penny wise and pound foolish. Here are some replies. I bought low-priced suit from an offbeat retailer. Thought I got a bargain, but the suit was simply no good. My car needed new automatic transmission. Took it to an alley garage, and agreed to do a job of $25 less than an authorized dealer. This new transmission lasted 1,800 miles and the garage wouldn't make it right. For months, I ate at a real greasy spoon trying to save money. The place wasn't clean, the food wasn't good, and the service, well, you couldn't call it that. And the clientele was a bunch of down at heelers. One day, a friend persuaded me to join him for a lunch at one of the best restaurants in town. He ordered a businessman's lunch, so I did too. I was amazed of what I got. Good food, good service, good atmosphere, and for just a little more than I had been paying at the Greasy Spoon, I learned a big lesson. There were many other replies. One fellow reported that he got in trouble with the Bureau of Internal Revenue because he used a bargain accountant. Another went to cut-rate doctor and later learned he had received a completely wrong diagnosis. Others related the costs of going second class in home repairs, hotels, and other goods and services. Of course, I've heard their argument many times, but I can't afford to go first class. The simplest answer is you cannot afford to go any other way. Certainly, in the long run, going first class actually costs you less than going second class. Then, two, it's better to have fewer things and have quality than to have many things and have junk. It's better, for example, to have one class really good pair of shoes than to have three pairs of second class shoes. People rate you for quality, often subconsciously perhaps. Develop an instinct for quality. It pays. It costs no more. Often costs less than second class. Make your environment make you successful. Be environment conscious. Just as the body diet makes the body, the mind diet makes the mind. Make your environment, number two, make your environment work for you, not against you. Don't let suppressive forces, the negative, you can't do it people, make you think defeat. Number three, don't let small thinking people hold you back. Jealous people want to see you stumble. Don't give them that satisfaction. Number four, get advice from successful people. Your future is important. Never risk it with the freelance advisors who are living failures. Number five, get plenty of psychological sunshine. Circulate in new groups. Discover new and stimulating things to do. Number six, throw thought poison out of your environment. Avoid gossip. Talk about people, but stay on the positive side. And number seven, go first class in everything you do. You can't afford to go any other way. So, my dear friends, that ends our chapter 7, Manage Your Environment, Go First Class. Let me type that. So, there you have it, my dear friends. The end of the reading of chapter 7 for the magic of thinking big. So, I hope you enjoyed listening to my reading tonight. And before we call it a night, let me greet the 7 million in the house watching with us now. Thank you so much. Feel free lang po, no? While we still have 10 minutes before we call it a night. Those who are here, kindly, you can type author, so Nightboot will drop your link. Or pwede din po kayong shout out, magpa-shout out sa mga nandito. Ayan, si Tita Wanderings. Thank you so much po, Tita Wanderings. At saka sa mga alagad mo dyan, si Wonder Vlog and the like. Thank you all so much. Our next live stream will be reading chapter 8, Make Your Attitudes Your Allies. That's the title of chapter 8. And we will be reading that, I don't know when, probably Sunday. Tingnan po natin kasi medyo super tight ang schedule natin ngayon. Rushing kasi ng grades ng mga bata. And aside from that, we're also working on a major project right now, a community project para sa mga bata, yung Students Pantry. If you remember, one of my videos is Book for a Cause. Last year pa yun eh. And on February 14, we will be doing the last wave of the Students Pantry. And yes, indeed, no, kahit na medyo hindi masyadong, anong tawag doon, marami naman nag-support and we're very glad na meron pa rin tayong nabentang mga books that actually financed somehow yung scholarship program natin at saka yung Students Pantry. At least malaking tulong din yung nabenta natin na books, nabenta din ng mga partners natin. So, yes, on February 14, we're going to share the love to the beneficiaries, the students. Sila magbe-benefit ng program natin na Binadang Cordillera Part 2, Book for a Cause. So, yun po. Kumusta naman tayo lahat dyan? Let's see. Let's play some music nga po para makaano naman tayo. Ay. Nako, pas naman yan. Sige. Yan, kumusta naman po tayo lahat dyan? Let's see, that's what we'll be doing. And Yeah. Maraming salamat po ulit sa 6 million in the house watching with us. Ibaba ko house mo, Tita Wanderings, no? Kumusta po, Tita Wanderings, ang ano natin? Kumusta na ang pin natin? Nakuha na po ba? Actually, 3 beses ko nang na-request. Hindi ko pa nakikita, but I'll find time kung makakaano ako bukas. I'll find time to, what do you call that, to follow up kung meron na. Kasi 3 beses ko nang na-request ang pin ko hindi pa dumarating. And in terms of the revenue, medyo malayo-layo pa tayo sa minimum. Hindi masyadong naaasikaso Pa-play lang muna tayo ng music, no? Sa mga nandito, just feel free po na mag-shout out or mag-greet sa ating chat box. I'll just do something while having some sound trip. Medyo sound trip muna tayo. Just like some of the things we need to accomplish tomorrow. Baka naka-mute pa ako. At least hindi naman siya. Hindi naman siya naka-mute. Yan yung mga chapters na natapos na natin, no? So far, yan yung ating background na napili. Medyo nakakalata yung mga wires ng computer natin dyan, pero okay lang. Set ko lang yung mga priorities for tomorrow. Ayan, so that's about it, my dear friends. Let's call it a night. Tomorrow we will have another or next live stream natin. Hindi ko po ma-assure yung schedule natin. But if we have time tomorrow, definitely siset po natin yan. If not, we'll try to find time over the weekend pag natapos po natin ang mga nirarush natin na deadlines. So for now, let's call it a night, everyone. Thank you all so much, Tita Wanderings, and those who are in the background, those who were listening a while back. I hope you enjoyed the reading of Chapter 7, Manage Your Environment. Thank you all so much, Tita Wanderings. Maraming salamat. Si Ma'am Hinupa, yung mga naka-DJ dyan, and those who dropped by, and those who will be listening to this. I hope you know, every one of us, because the reading I had tonight is also a reminder for me personally, no, to think big and to avoid thought poisons. Kung minsan kasi, di ba, sa daily na na-encounter natin, di natin maiwasan itong mga thought poisons. But this book, this chapter reminds us on how we can manage our environment so that we don't get to be poisoned and we don't get to be, to be pulled to a very negative kind of thinking that will affect our growth as individuals and of course the outputs of our life, diba? So with that, this is author Liza Gay once again, who have read with you chapter 7 of this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And once again, author Liza Gay here reminding you to be better so you and your loved ones can live better. Think big and all the best. Have a good night. God bless.